The final boss is back. It's go time. Season 3 is here. Are you tuning in? Every Sunday is Sitting Down Sundays with the final boss. Get ready for an inspiring journey as we dive deep into the transformation from the nation's capital to the entertainment capital of the world. This is the conversation that will ignite your dreams and fuel your ambitions. What you'll experience: game-changing insights from industry leaders, real talk about making impossible dreams possible, the blueprint for leveling up your life, motivation that hits different. This isn't just another podcast episode. This is your wake-up call to greatness. Don't just listen, absorb, don't just hear. Transform, don't just dream, execute. Drop a like in the comments if you're ready to level up with us.
Welcome to Sitting Down Sunday with the Final Boss. I am your host, the Final Boss Podcast. Man, what a great weekend. Listen. Oh, man. It's imagine, good people. Imagine, yes, you, talking to you. Imagine it being 6:30 a.m. and your alarm is going off. You roll out of bed, you check your phone. 3 subscription charges hit your account overnight. $9.99, $14.99, and $12.99. You don't even remember signing up for 2 of them. You grab your coffee, $6.50. Which used to be $4.25 2 years ago. You commute to work. Gas is $4.19 a gallon. Your car insurance just went up again. You work 8, 9, 10 hours, come home exhausted. You check your bank account again before going to bed. And somehow, there's less money than there was last month. You're working harder, producing more, doing everything they told you to do, but you're losing. You're losing the game. And somewhere, in a boardroom or someplace you would never see, someone just made $47,000 while you were reading this, right? Off your subscription, no doubt. Your debt, your work, your life. This is a game changer. And the game has changed. And I want to let you know. Welcome to the game they don't teach you about. Welcome to the systematic extraction of American wealth. Welcome to the fleecing of America. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? In the next 60 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how they're doing it. And more importantly, how you can stop it. This is the Final Boss Podcast, episode number 151. And this one is going to hurt a lot of people's feelings, but it is the truth. As always, unlike I've ever done before, but the truth shall always set you free. So, to my smarts, to my motivators, to my warriors, to my motivators, listen, I'm your host, the Final Boss, of course. And if you're still with me after that cold opening, good. That means you felt it. That means you're living it. That means you're ready for the truth. But before we get into that, listen, I have a few admin notes I need to get out. Make sure you go like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe on all the channels, no matter where you see us or where you're watching us from, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, Kick, or Spotify for your listening pleasures. Go make sure you check all of those, like, share, and subscribe. Please continue to send us all your emails. Please continue to send us all your emails at info@thefinalbosspodcast.com. And go check out our website, man. Go check out our website at https www.thefinalbosspodcast, one word.com. The Final Boss Podcast, one word.com. The one word part, of course, is not in there. I know you guys know that already. Yes, go check out our website. And let's get into tonight's show. But before we do that, man, let me get into the brass tacks of the evening. A brass tacks is coming from John Taylor from 1822. This brass tacks is from John Taylor. He wrote this in 1822. A policy for transferring property by exclusive privileges, pensions, bounties, monopolies, and extravagance constitutes the essence of the British monopoly and is sustained by a conspiracy between the government and those who are enriched by it for the fleecing of the people. In this case, the fleecing of America. And as always, I hope this resonates with you tonight. Go get your pen and paper, man. We can ready to get into it, right? We are getting ready to get into it. And again, for those who are just not joining us, this is episode number 51. Hey, Jacondi, how are you? How are you? Good evening, good evening, good evening. Yes. Yes. We're going to be pulling the wool back, right? And the curtains on something everybody feels, but few people understand, right? We're talking about the fleecing of America. And before you think this is just another complaint session, because it's not, let me be clear. This is a strategic briefing. This is intel. This is the kind of conversation that separate those who get taken from and those who take position. See, I spent 23 years in the Fed, right? Federal service, right? I started a few companies, namely the Final Boss Podcast LLC, satdiginet.com, and a few others, right? And I've worked with many people from all walks of life, right? And businesses from all walks of life, to include government agencies. And what I've seen from both sides of that fence will make your head spin. But here's what we're not going to do tonight. We're not going to complain, because we don't do complaints here. We're about solutions on the Final Boss Podcast and the Final Boss community, right? This is what we're about. We're about solutions, right? And so we're not complaining. We're going to understand the game. We're going to identify, equip you with strategies to protect yourself and build wealth while others are getting fleeced, right? And what I just described to you earlier in the opening introduction, that morning I just described, right? That's not fiction. That's your morning. That's America's morning. That's the reality for 70% of the country who are living paycheck to paycheck, while being told the economy is strong. This is chess, people, not checkers. And by the end of this conversation on the Final Boss Podcast, you're going to see the board differently, because we're always talking about the chessboard, right? You're going to see the players differently, right? We're going to talk about the chess pieces. And most importantly, you're going to see yourself differently because you're not a victim, you're a strategist. You're a strategist. I'm sorry, you're a strategist who just hasn't been given the proper intelligence of the intel briefing. But my final bosses, my motivators, my warriors, and my smarts, consider this your briefing. Yes, you stay with me. I just got started. Stay with me. All right. Now let's start with the foundation. And I know you're saying, like, what does he mean? Right? What does he mean by the foundation? What does he mean by the fleecing of America? You've heard that term before. It's a political term. I'm quite sure you've heard it. A lot of pundits have spoken about it. These political debates have probably mentioned it. But right now, I'm talking about systematic wealth extraction. Right? I'm talking about how the average American works harder, produces more, and ends up with less. It's inflation that outpaces wages. It's hidden fees that nickel and dime you to you're broke. It's a tax code so complicated, you need to pay someone to tell you how much you owe. It's subscription services that auto renew. It's convenience fees for paying your bills online. But here's the real game, final bosses. Here's the real game. It's not just about money leaving your pocket, it's about time, attention, energy that's being extracted from you. It's about keeping you so damn tired, so damn confused, and so damn distracted that you don't get a chance to build real wealth. And look, I'm gonna speak to you from different perspectives, right? Right now, we're gonna talk about the military perspective. This is what we like to call death by 1,000 cuts. No single thing takes you down, but the cumulative effect is devastating. And the beautiful genius of it, as my beautiful daughter she would appreciate this. She's so smart. Is that they convinced you, as in us, that it's our fault. You need to budget better. You should have saved more. Meanwhile, the game is rigged at the structural level, right? So tonight, we're going to break down who's doing the fleecing, how they're doing it, and most importantly, how you build your shield and sharpen the sword, right? But first, right, first target, because I told you I was talking from a military perspective, first target on the radar is the subscription economy. Now, I've talked about subscription and that subscription-based model, probably about 2 episodes ago. I think it was like episode number 148 or 149. So go check that out, right? And my smarts, they know this is brilliant. Because from a business standpoint, which is exactly why it's so dangerous, right? It's so dangerous from a consumer standpoint. Think about it. You used to buy, and I've used this example. You used to buy software, right? One payment, you own it. Now you have to rent everything. Everything's a lease. Adobe, Micro, and look, I even talked about the vehicles. The heated seats in your car might be a subscription one day. And I'm not making this stuff up, people. Here's the strategy and the play they're running. You make the monthly payment. They make the monthly payment so small that they know you're going to forget about it, right? They know that in hindsight, you're not going to feel it, right? $99, $9.99 here, $14.99 there, $4.99 here, $2.99 there, $1.99 there, 99 cents here, right? But it all adds up. The average American is spending over $200 a month on subscriptions alone that they barely use. And here's the psychological warfare. They make it easy to sign up, but you have to navigate and give God a call to cancel it. You have to call him like, hey, good Lord above, I need a favor. Can you help me with canceling these subscriptions? That's how bad it is. No joking. No, listen, I'm joking, but I'm not joking. That's how bad it is. Try to cancel some of these subscriptions, especially these gym memberships. Try that, right? And it's not by accident. That's strategic design. From me seeing things from the outside and inside, I see how Fortune 500 companies are salivating over the reoccurring revenue models. Wall Street freaking loves it because it's predictable. We've talked about that. But for you, you're paying forever for something you used to own, right? And you have to start now. As I mentioned before, you have to start now by auditing these subscriptions, auditing these apps monthly. Set a calendar reminder. If you haven't used it in 30 days, kill it. That's the pro move, right? That's the boss move. Use virtual credit cards with spending limits for these subscriptions, right? Control the battlefield. That's the point. This is, if you don't know this or not, this is pillar number 3 of the 6 pillars of success, which is consistency, right? Be consistent in managing your money or it'll consistently leave you, right? So let's move on. Next vector of attack, of course, is inflation. The silent thief that's been pickpocketing America while the government tells you it's only 3%. Final bosses, let me drop some real science on you real quick. Official inflation might say 3%, but your grocery bill up 25 to 30%. Your rent up. The numbers fluctuate, but it's up. And in some markets, possibly 40%. Your car insurance gone through the roof. This is what I like to call the shrinkflation game. Yeah, go coin that. Shrinkflation game. You're paying the same price for less product. I was just talking to my pops about this. He had made a statement. He's like, hey, son, when I go to my L store, local L store, and I pay a certain amount for the purchase I'm looking to purchase, maybe a fifth or something, but the bottom of the bottle is an inch thick. I definitely am buying less. I said, Pop, I'm gonna do some research on that. So shout out to my pops, man, for bringing that to my attention, right? But that's not the only product, right? You're paying the same price for less product in the cereal boxes, and your chips bag, which is mostly full of air, and sometimes your favorite candy bar, right? But here's where it gets deep. Wages haven't kept pace. If you made $50,000 5 years ago and you make $50,000 today, you've actually taken a pay cut of about 20% in real purchasing power. And who benefits from that? Is it the asset holders, people who own stocks, real estate, businesses? The wealth gap isn't widening by accident, it's widening by design. You cannot save your way to wealth in this inflammatory environment. Your money is losing value sitting in a savings account earning 0.5%. At the same time, while inflation is running 3 to 7%. You need to be in assets, real estate, index funds, business ownership, something that appreciates faster than the inflation depreciates. This right here, this principle is something that I speak of in my book that just dropped, hashtag Go Time, all aboard the fired up train, right? Hold on, good people. I just damn it. Oh man, I forgot to take down the headlines. Thank you, man. Listen, I be on a groove. I be in a groove. Yes. As I was saying, I was talking about assets, I believe. Real estate, index funds, business ownership. Yes. You need to get into something, ownership of something that outpaces the inflation that is depreciating, right? And like I said before, this is a principle that I speak of in my new book that dropped on Thanksgiving Day. It was a soft drop. Thanksgiving Day, hashtag Go Time. Go pick it up. Hashtag Go Time. All aboard the fired up train on all your everywhere that books are served or sold, right? It is time for you to get off the sidelines and into the game. When I speak of the fired up train, and in it, I speak of building wealth or wealth building. The fired up train is leaving the station. Inflation is burning down the platform, and you're still standing on it, right? But listen, there's also illegal fleecing that's going down in this country. Talk about the U.S. tax code. Over 70,000 pages of rules, regulations, and loopholes. And here's what's wild. The system is designed so that the W-2 wage earners, the workers, right, pay the highest effective tax rate. Meanwhile, the ultra wealthy, you know this. I'm not telling you something you don't already know. They're paying anywhere between 15 to 20% because their income comes from capital gains, dividends, carried interest, right? A famous billionaire famously said he pays a lower tax rate than his secretary. That's not a bug, that's a feature by design, right? And for the average American, you're paying someone $300 to $500 just to file your taxes because the system is deliberately too complex for normal people to navigate. Meanwhile, there are companies like TurboTax and H&R Block, right? They're lobbying to keep it complicated. So you have to keep paying them. This is how the system works. Scratch my back, I scratch your back. You shake my hand, I shake your hand. And from me being in the federal service, I've seen how policies get made. Those are not accidents, people. Those are choices. If you're only getting a W 2, you're playing on hard mode. You need multiple income streams, right? You need to start a side business, even a small one that gives you access to deductions like a home office, right? Vehicle expenses, things that you can write off, equipment, education, wardrobe. The tax code rewards business owners and investors. And here's the strategic move, right? To max out your tax advantaged accounts. If you have a 401k, a IRA, a HSA, that's money you're keeping instead of giving to Uncle Sugar, right? And it grows tax free or tax deferred. This is about sacrifice, the number 2 pillar of success, which is in my book, Go Time. Sacrifice immediate spending to build long term wealth structure. Now, right? Listen, one of the deadliest weapons in the fleecing arsenal is consumer debt. Specifically, what? Specifically, credit card debt. Credit card debt. The average American household carrying credit card debt right now, they're paying about $1,200 a year in just interest. Not paying down the balance, just interest. That's money that is evaporating into thin air. And here's the psychology they're weaponizing against you. Minimum payments. If you owe 5,000 and they let you pay 150 a month, you think it's okay? You think that's manageable? But at 24% APR, it'll take you 4 years to pay off the cost. 4 years to pay off, and it's going to cost you around $2,000 in interest alone. Meanwhile, the same credit card companies are offering you rewards. Oh, you get 2% cash back. Oh, you're paying 24% interest. You're trading dollars for pennies, people, and you think you won. They have you in vice grips. And listen, from my military experience, this is what we like to call a tactical retreat. That's actually a strategic defeat, right? You think you're managing it, but you're losing ground every single month, right? And if you're carrying credit card debt, this is we're going to say this is DEFCON 1, right? Emergency status. Cut up the cards. Debt avalanche method. Highest interest rates first. And here's the pro move. Call the credit card company and negotiate. They'd rather you get 15% than send you to collections, right? And get nothing. Because that's another conversation. I'm not going to get into that. But think about it. And once you're clear, use credit cards like a tool, not a crutch. Pay the balance in full every month. Get the rewards. Never pay the interest. And this, my friends, is the fourth pillar of success: perseverance. You don't get into debt overnight. You won't get out of debt overnight. But with systematic effort, you will break free. And I know this is a sensitive subject. I know all this whole conversation is a sensitive subject, but I'm here to tell you, as the Final Boss on the Final Boss podcast, on this journey and building this community together for motivators, warriors, smarts, and final bosses. We're in this together. We are in this together. And, you know, student loans is another sensitive subject. And student loans in the education industrial complex, right? Now, think about this. I'm going to school right now to finish my master's. So I value education, right? I value it. I have my first degree in business with a concentration in entrepreneurship with honors from Strayer University, and proud. And right now I'm pursuing my master's in business at the University of Maryland for global studies. Education is powerful, but the system is fleecing an entire generation. Total student loan debt in America is over $1.7 trillion. That's trillion with a T. With a T, people. Trillion with a T. And the average graduate, once they graduate, is $30,000 to $40,000 in debt for a degree that might not even land them a job in that particular field. And here's the con. They told you to go to college, get any degree, and you'll be successful. So you took out $100,000 for a degree and something with no market demand. Meanwhile, skilled trades are paying right now between 70 and 90K with zero debt and massive demand. And the interest rates, federal student loans are at a 5 to 7%. And private loans are even higher. You can't even discharge them in bankruptcy. It's the only debt you cannot escape, right? And for those with student loans, look into income-driven repayment plans, right? Loan forgiveness programs if you're in public service. And here's the real move. Here's a real smart move. Pay more than the minimum toward the principal, not just the interest. For those considering education, calculate your ROI. Who doesn't love a ROI? Your return on investment, if you're going $100,000 in debt for a career that pays you 40K, that math ain't mathing. You might need to reconsider and consider some alternatives, perhaps like trade schools, apprenticeships, certifications, and online learning. Look, I already spoke to you guys and told you I'm not anti-education. I am in the education system as I'm finishing my master's, right? I'm pro strategic education. I make moves that build wealth, not destroy it. And this is about motivation, which is pillar number 1 in the 6 pillars of success. You got to be motivated by reality and not fantasy, right? Now, to my warriors, right? To my warriors, man. Shout out to my warriors. Let's talk about healthcare because medical debt is the number one cause of bankruptcy in America. You're paying $500 to $1,500 per month for health insurance, and it soon will go up in the next year, the following year, 2026. And then when you actually need it, deductible, co-pays, out of network charges, services, things that aren't even covered. People are paying thousands for insurance and then going bankrupt anyway. And the price, you can't even find out what something costs before you get the procedure. Imagine going to the restaurant, right? Going to your favorite restaurant and uh there's no prices on the menu. Now, I've been to those restaurants before, and trust me, once you get the bill, it's not a happy time. It's not a happy time. But imagine that. You went in there for something simple. You didn't see any price. You're like, oh, okay, it can't be that much. Then you get a bill for $700. In this instance, we're talking about healthcare. You get a bill in 3 months for $47,000 because you needed stitches. You needed some dental work. And from way I see it, man, from the way I see it, I see the bureaucracy in it, the waste, the middlemen who are taking their cut, insurance companies, pharmacy, benefit managers, uh, hospital administrators. Everyone's getting paid except for the people actually delivering the care and the people receiving it, right? Look, if you have a health savings account, if you're healthy and can swing a high deductible plan, max out the HSA. Again, max it out. Triple tax advantage. There's a tax deductible that's going in that grows tax free. Withdrawals for medical expenses are tax free. Shop around for your prescriptions. Shop around, right? You don't have to purchase the prescriptions from where they say. You have the prescription. Shop around. And you know what? You want the nuke option? The nuke option, right? Medical tourism for major procedures. People are traveling for some of these procedures around the world, right? A hip replacement in the US is probably around 40K. The same procedure in Spain or Thailand with a vacation included will cost you a third of that, about 15K. Do the math. The system wants you dependent. You need to build your independence now, right? You need to build your independence. Now, listen up. Let's talk about shelter. The most basic human need and how it's become a wealth extraction machine. We've already talked about how rent's up in mostly all major markets. We've already talked about, and that's been occurring for about 5 years now. You're paying anywhere between $2,000 and $3,000 a month for an apartment, a decent one, right? And you're building zero equity, right? That's $24,000 to $36,000 per year going to someone else's mortgage. And I know I'm speaking from a point where you're probably like, hey, don't you live in such and such? I do. But here's the thing. Some of us can't live in houses by themselves. I'm gonna just leave it at that, right? A house is a lot of work. It takes a lot of maintenance and a lot of care. Being a disabled veteran, that's not in my forte, right? And it's a lot of y'all out there who probably are feeling the same way as well, right? But if you can, you're able, home ownership, right? But it has to be the right home, in the right location, with the right interest rates. It all has to make sense. This is what I'm talking about. It has to make sense because interest rates actually shot up. Home prices are inflated, and some loans you need about 20% down just to be competitive. And if you don't know the math on that, for a $400,000 loan, that's about 80 grand cash, right? Where's the average American getting 80K from? And here's the strategic play. I'm gonna give you guys the sides. Big money is making private equity firms, they're buying up all the single family homes. They're turning them into rentals and creating permanent renter class. That's what they're creating. You're going to rent from these big name companies forever while they build generation wealth on your monthly payment. If you can't buy where you live, consider buying where you can afford and renting it out. That's a house hack. Here's another one. Go buy a cheap duplex if you can. Live in one unit, rent the others. The tenants will pay your mortgage on that rental unit. Let's look at the FHA loans, right? 3.5% down. VA loans, if you're a veteran, thank the Lord, 0% down. These are tools that are in your arsenal. And here's the long game. Real estate is one of the few wealth building tools accessible to regular people. You can leverage other people's money, i.e., the banks, right? Have someone else pay it off, your tenants, and build equity while getting tax benefits. I like to call this strategy the the persistence strategy, which is also pillar number 5. The housing market is brutal right now, but give up and you're guaranteed to rent forever. You keep pushing, you keep looking, and you keep strategizing. Now, right? Now, this is something that I must talk about. I must talk about this. Something that's called the gig economy trap, right? Who's familiar with the gig economy, right? Anybody? Well, for those who aren't familiar with the gig economy, that's your Ubers, your DoorDash, your TaskRabbits, and all those other platforms. They sold it as be your own boss. Great marketing language. Make your own hours. Side hustle to financial freedom. The reality, you're making $12 to $15 an hour before expenses, no benefits, no job security, and you, my friends, are actually destroying your vehicle, right? These companies have figured it out, and it's brilliant. They've outsourced all the risk and placed it and given it to you on a platter. You provide the car, you provide the gas, you provide the insurance, you provide the maintenance, and they take 25 to 30% off the top. And if something goes wrong, You're an independent contractor, not an employee. No workers' comp, no unemployment, no nothing. But the algorithm loves you. It's designed to keep you hooked. It's a brilliant marketing strategy. And just one more ride to hit your bonus. Just one more ride. You're not an entrepreneur, you're a digital sharecropper. And from my experience building certain businesses, I understand real entrepreneurship. That ain't it. This is trading your time and assets for someone else's profit, right? Remember, they get theirs off the top. Off the top, they get theirs. And if you're in a gig economy, a lot of people are. You need to treat it like it is, or treat it for what it is, a short-term stepping stone, not a career. Use it to stack cash while you build something you own. Start a service business with direct clients. Cut out the platform taking 30%. If you're doing one of those dashes, start offering a meal prep directly to families. If you are driving for one of those other companies, start a car service for corporate clients. Look, man, the fired up train is the train to freedom. It doesn't run through someone else's platform. It runs through ownership. Own your business, own your client relationships, own your future, right? Now, I know everybody's like, man, Fire Boss is on fire tonight. Yes, I am on fire tonight. And this is a subject right here that pisses me off because I see it all the time, and I see a lot of people who are hurting from this, right? And you want to know what it is? You want to know what it is? Of course you do. Of course you do. It's retirement. It's retirement. And why the system is setting up most Americans for poverty in their old age, right? Social Security, it was designed originally when people lived only to 65 and died at 67. Now people are living to 85, 90, sometimes 100. And the system is running out of money. And if you're under 40, betting on Social Security is betting on a broke system, people. Listen, 401ks is a great tool. But here's what they don't tell you. The average fees on mutual funds and 401ks are eating your money up between 1 to 2% of your returns, right? Every single year. Over 40 years, that's hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost wealth that you've been paying in interest fees and pensions, right? If you don't work for the government or a union, good luck, people. Good luck. Corporate America killed pensions and shifted all the risk again to who? To who? To you, right? You need to max out your 401k to get the employer's match. That's free money. But don't stop there. Open up a Roth IRA with tax-free growth, tax-free withdrawals in that retirement. Invest in index funds with low fees. Places like Vanguard, Fidelity, Schwab. Don't pay someone 1.5% to underperform the market, right? And here's the real move. Build income producing assets that are outside retirement accounts, i.e. real estate, dividend stocks, a business. You need multiple streams that are feeding your future. The system wants you to be dependent on them. I need you to build independence. I need you to build independence, not for me, but for you. I need you to build this independence for yourself, for your family, for the legacy that you're building, for their families, for your kids, and their kids, and so forth and so on. Build that independence now. And this is what I like to call the sixth pillar of success, which is resilience. The economy will crash. It has crashed before. Markets will fluctuate. You need to build a financial position so resilient that you can weather every storm. Now, here's a layer most people miss. We're talking about the information game. The information game, right? How they're fleecing you by controlling what you know. Financial literacy isn't taught in schools. Ding. You can graduate high school, college, and not even know how compound interest works. How to read a balance sheet. What is a PE ratio? That's not by accident, good people. That's by design. And to my motivators, to my smarts, to my warriors, to my final bosses, listen, stay with me, don't go anywhere. Meanwhile, they're bombarding you with messages. Consume, consume, consume. Commercials, influence, social media ads. Buy this, lease that. You deserve it. Treat yourself. All designed to keep you in a spending cycle. And the experts, man, listen to the experts. Listen to the experts. Most are getting paid by the companies they're recommending. If you didn't already know that. The financial advisor telling you to buy a mutual fund, he gets a commission. The influencer promoting whatever he's promoting, that's an affiliate link. And from my own personal podcast, we're going to just say, let's say IG. I have 100, it dropped, of course. I had 161,000 followers last month, right? I'm down to like 145 or something like that. I see the responsibility we have as content creators. I could push products for commissions all day long, but that's not my mission. My mission is the truth. My mission to you is the truth. I'm building this community, and we're on this journey together on truth. I want you to educate yourself aggressively. You need to start reading these books that are already out here, right? Go read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Go read The Millionaire Next Door. Go read The Simple Path to Wealth. And start following people who are financially free. Listen to them. They're dropping gems, they're teaching, and they're not selling. The question, and listen, you have to start questioning everything. My chair. You have to start questioning everything. If someone's giving you financial advice, ask, how do they make money? If the answer is from me buying what they're recommending, you need to run. You need to run immediately. This is about building your smarts and becoming a smart. Having critical thinking, questioning assumptions, seeking truth over comfort. Now, there's also a deep-rooted political layer of fleecing. And I'm going to try and keep this one short, right? I'm going to try and keep this one short. And I'm going to keep this even-handed because this isn't about right or left. It's not about red or blue. It's about up versus down. Stay with me. Grab your pen, take some notes if you already haven't. Both parties talk about helping the middle class while passing legislation that benefits the wealthy and corporations. Tax breaks for billionaires, subsidies for massive corporations, bailouts for banks that gambled and lost with your money. And at the same time, you, the American taxpayer, is funding a system where we spend more on healthcare. We spend more on healthcare than any nation, but have the worst outcomes. We spend more on military than the next 10 countries combined. Go check those numbers out. Crazy. We bail out corporations that turn around and lay off workers. We see it all the time. Start opening your eyes, start listening, and paying attention. Your attention is being stolen. Another podcast of mine, the attention span or the lack thereof. And they keep us fighting. They keep us fighting each other. Left versus right, black versus white, young versus old, while they're picking all of our pockets. Listen, I was in the federal government for 23 years, and I worked with many government agencies. I've seen a lot of waste. I've seen the inefficiency. I've seen how lobbyists write legislation that Congress just rubber stamps, right? What you need to do is you need to start being more informed. You need to be voting informed. Look at the voting records, not campaign speeches. Stop being triggered and emotionally vested in somebody's political speech, because while they're giving you a political speech that's tugging on your emotions, they're behind those closed doors voting for things that you don't agree with, right? And you need to start following the money. Who's donating what to these candidates? If these candidates aren't aligned with your viewpoints, or if they are, or if they aren't, you need to see who's donating to them. You need to start following the money. You need to get involved locally, school boards, city councils, right? That's where policy actually affects your daily life. And here's a power move for you, right? We've been talking about building wealth. Despite everything that's going on in this system, don't wait for politicians to save you. They won't. You need to start saving yourself, build your empire, create generation wealth for you and your family and generations to come. The system is the game. You need to learn the rules, play within them, but build your own kingdom, right? Now, to my final bosses, to my smarts, to my warriors, to my motivators, we've identified the threats. Now let's talk strategic. Let's talk strategy. Your tactical action plan to avoid getting fleeced and start building real wealth, right? And these are some immediate actions that you can do in the next 30 days. Number one, start auditing all of those subscriptions. Anything over 30 days, you cancel. You need to check. Number two, check your credit card interest rates. Call and negotiate or balance transfer to 0%, right? Number three, review your tax withholding. Stop giving the government an interest-free loan. Number four, Set up automatic transfers to savings. Pay yourself first. Number 5, start tracking every expense you have for the next 30 days. You can't manage, you cannot imagine. Hold on. You cannot imagine. You cannot imagine what you're paying. You can't manage what you don't measure. You need to start writing these things down, right? And look, now we let's talk about the next 90 days. If you don't have an emergency fund, you need to build one, at least $1,000. That's going to be a buffer against debt. If you're working for someone and it's corporate, you need to max out your employer 401k to get the employee match, right? Opening high yield savings account of at least 4 to 5% on your cash. Start learning, read one financial book, take an online course. Identify one income stream to start. It could be a service business, a side hustle, an investment. Now, let's talk long-term strategies. In the next 3 to 6 months, build your emergency fund with financial armor. Pay off all high interest debt, credit cards, personal loans. Open an Roth IRA and fund it, right? That's future tax dollars, free wealth. Start building your business or investment portfolio. That's ownership. Create a 5-year wealth plan where you are and where you're going. Look, I've already spoken about the 6 building blocks of success. Here is the 6 building blocks of reward when it comes to action. You're building systematically toward financial freedom. Remember, go grab my book, Go Time, right? Go grab Go Time. All aboard the fired up train, right? It's a game changer because all these principles and theories that I've been speaking of, they're in there. And I'm already working on Go Time 2, right? I'm already working on Go Time 2. So be looking out for that. That's coming down the pipe later on next year. Look, the fired up train is leaving. You're getting on or you're getting left behind. And to my final bosses, to my smarts, to my motivators, to my warriors, here's what I need you to understand as we close out this episode number 151. The fleecing of America is real. This isn't conspiracy. It's systematic. It's designed. But here's what they're not counting on. They're not counting on you, yes, you, waking up, right? You educating yourself, you making different choices for the betterment of not only you, but for your family. See, my beautiful daughter, who's a super genius, she's going to inherit something different. She's going to inherit a different world than the one I grew up in. And I'm building, and I will continue to build. So she has options, right? So she has generational wealth. So she has freedom. That's what this is about. Not complaining, not victim mentality, but strategy, execution, results. I've been mentioning that I spent 23 years in federal service, right? You guys know that I'm a CEO, right? You know that I was in the military. You mix that all together, it's all distilled into this one message. The system doesn't determine your outcome. Your decisions do. Now, if you go and apply the 6 pillars of success: motivation, sacrifice, consistency, perseverance, persistence, and resilience, you're going to find that you have a better chance of doing something versus doing nothing. Remember that, right? The Final Boss podcast goes live 4 times a week. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, all at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We're building a community of excellence, a community of greatness, right? Go get my book, Go Time. All aboard the Fired Up train. It dropped on Thanksgiving, right? If this episode hits you, smash that like button, drop a comment, share this with someone who needs to hear it. And hey, if you disagree, that's fine too. We're critical thinkers. We're critical thinkers here. We don't need to be in echo chambers. And listen, until next time, stay fired up, stay strategic. And remember, you're not just surviving this game, you're becoming the final boss of your own empire. This is the Final Boss, and I'll see you at the top. And I'll see you again tomorrow at 9 p.m. for Motivation Monday. And then on Tuesday with the Sensei for Tech Tuesday. And then we close out the week with special guest Thursday, this coming Thursday. And let all of that marinate into your spine. And remember, there's a heavy pain that comes with discipline, but the pain of regret is even heavier. We are here. I am here. And this has been the Final Boss Podcast. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to each and last single one of you, no matter where you are, where you're watching, or if you're tuning into, no matter where you are. This has been our show, episode number 151. Be balanced, be equal, and be smart. That's our show for tonight, good people. To my smarts, to my warriors, to my motivators, to my final bosses. You know what time it is. Act accordingly. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Talk to you soon.
Welcome to the Final Boss Podcast, where microphones and mushroom clouds collide in the most mind-blowing chats. We're talking explosive topics, fiery debates, and the hottest guests. Imagine a creative space background, spacey vibes, and out-of-this-world conversations. It's like chilling with your best buddies, but with way cooler sound effects. Every episode, we take on the universe's biggest questions. You know, the stuff that keeps you up at night. And we do it with a bang. Want to know what happens when you mix gaming, movies, and pop culture? Boom! You get the Final Boss Podcast. So plug in those earbuds and get ready for a wild ride. Whether you're commuting, chilling, or just need a break, we've got your back. Hit that follow button and join us on this cosmic journey. Trust me, you don't want to miss these explosive chats. Catch the Final Boss Podcast now, where every episode is a blast. Stay tuned and stay awesome. Final Boss Podcast, bringing the boom to you.